Welcome to our Saturday. Yes, it's cold, it's snowy, but for me it's already warm. It's already so brightful because we actually, me and my beautiful guest today, we sit in actually and start chatting already. I don't know, half an hour soon, and suddenly I said, "Oh, let's push this button," because I interrupted her. Basically, said, "You have already so many gems come out right from your mouth. Now I want to share them with our audience." So I'm so privileged, honored to spend my Saturday with this beautiful lady from all the way from, yes, it feels kind of similar because it's now cold and yes, a lot of snow. But when we start speaking with her, that I feel so warm connection immediately. Her name is Esabella, and oh my God, my beautiful audience, you know that actually I love very much to give title to my episodes, and today I had a little bit struggle, but funny struggle because first I wanted to make a special title, and it's more like appropriate. It's called like, you know, why then and there, here and where,
Yeah.
by Esabella Strickland, and you will be understanding later why exactly this name I wanted to give in the beginning. But after I've been watching and really magnetized by her TED talk, so I decided to change a little bit. So we still can vote probably, or this first title, or the second title. It was, I decided to make a little bit funny. It's like circle in a square, or construction worker, or phenomenal neurodivergent genius. And you will be understanding everything during our talk. Actually, it's basically so fun. So welcome to our diversity is the game changer, and it's kind of anniversary for us. It's our episode number 20, right? And my baby podcast is growing. Some teenager probably. No, I'm joking. Yes, and today we are joined by epic guest who epitomizes creativity, resilience, and neurodiversity advocacy. And her name is Esabella Strickland. And you have no idea, she's just so young and she have accomplished so much already. So I was thinking like how I can put this somehow in brief presentation. I will try. Isabella is a phenomenal 19 years old. Are you still 19, baby?
Yep.
Yes. 19, okay. Neurodivergent polymath who's redefining what it means to be a modern day Renaissance girl. Isabella's multi-award winning filmmaker, screenwriter, producer, and published author. Additionally, she's an award-winning actress, media host, artist, Gen Z influencer based in Vancouver, and I don't know, it's so much you are involved. So for me, like, wow, still, and I can just imagine, okay, 24 hours, maybe in Vancouver it's not 24 hours, maybe it's 34. But okay, the most important, through your work in numerous diversified creative domains, you advocate for recognition of human equal rights, fighting bullying, and embracing neurodiversity. Welcome, most warm welcome and sunny to our show. Dear Isabel, welcome.
Thank you so much. I actually haven't heard all that I've done in such a short sentence, and it
Mm-hmm.
kind of made me emotional. Because I sometimes I feel old. I don't know why. I just feel old. Like I've done so much, and I just want to break from it. Like I want to go into retirement already. But there's so much more to do. There's so much more life to live. And like I'm thinking of what the next 10 years will be like, and hopefully, the audience can also reflect what can I do today that can help change my future in a profound way.
Yes, that's right. Because it was really, a kind of profound task for me to kind of summarize in this introduction. Because when I just opened a little bit in your official site, and I was like, I start reading, like, and then I'm like 9 years old, and then reading one. Wait a second, 19 years old? Like I was like, is it? Oh wow. So yes, my darling. So let's start because you know it's so funny. I always start with my guests, and it's kind of feel that, oh, we should jump really, like, you know, and like grave in their
Mhm.
times. Probably it's so long from now, because we are starting, of course, from childhood, because I believe it's of course profound impact of our childhood on the whole adulthood mindset and everything. But for me, uh, you still, like, you know, you still like a kid kind of, but you're like, you accomplished so much already. You're so wise, and you're a role model for, I believe, many hundreds of thousands of grown up people. But let's start, yes, in your childhood as well, right? So your accomplishments at such a young age are truly remarkable. And yet, let's start from the very beginning and welcome a little Esabella on the stage now. I know you've been experienced and exposed to many challenges, circumstances, both from your TED Talk and other platforms. But today I want you to open up about your special story yourself, and how did your childhood and upbringing shape your creative path and advocacy work? Thank you.
Whoa, well, when I think about my childhood, I had ups and downs. I know my experience is very different from the people around me. I'm the youngest child of 3. I have 2, half siblings. They're my real siblings. I have a beautiful sister, and a very talented brother. Um, and they were like another set of parents for me when I was younger, because I am the baby. They're in their 30s, and I'm just exiting teenhood into young adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
So they were in their teens when I was a kid, and they tell me stories about like what I would do, and how I grew up, because I don't necessarily remember. There's itty bitty bits that I remember, and it just felt right to hear those things. Like, we would watch Futurama. I'm a baby, so I don't remember that, but it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear how cared for I was, and how cherished I was. But we moved from Deep Cove, in for the people who know like the BC area a bit more. Deep Cove is like on the shoreline. We moved into the Vancouver area, and I started school.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my preschool quite well. Um, I remember I would make attachments to adults. I found a best friend that I would spend a lot of time with. Um, and it was like it was a good childhood, like growing up there. But I think things changed when I went into school, like
Mm-hmm.
kindergarten. Um, I don't necessarily remember this, I have been retold this, but my kindergarten teacher was a little funky. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people can be astonishing in their own ways. But that's when bullying started for me. I was in kindergarten.
Oh.
People knew I was different. I don't know how, but sometimes people can just tell when you're neurodivergent, no matter how much you mask, no matter how much you kind of push yourself into the background, you will be different, and that is a good thing. You should hold on to that, even if you're not aware. If you feel different, if you feel like you have a different outlook than the people around you, either you can look for the people who have that same outlook and like push you up in the things that you're passionate about, or maybe rethink and talk to those people around you who have a different view on life. But anyway, going back to kindergartenhood, um, my and this person's parents didn't get along. Again, this is the retelling of the story that I heard. We all remember things differently. I don't necessarily remember, but something happened. And going on to grade 1 and grade 2 and grade 3, I knew something was different when actually 2 things come up for me. Um, when I was learning my times tables, so multiplication,
Mm-hmm.
like 5 times 5, like we're learning the basics, right? I
Mm-hmm.
had barely even got to counting to 10 at that point because I wasn't supported at school.
Mm-hmm.
The public school system here is, at the time, it wasn't very funded. I think around the time we had strikes for teachers too, for better pay. But my education wasn't what it needed to be, and I was a kid. Um, I knew that everyone around me who was older than me knew more and knew what
Mhm.
was good for me. As I grew up, I've realized I can speak my own voice, you know, I can say what I think is right, but as a kid, you're so heavily reliant on the people around you, and I
Mhm.
think that's when certain habits started arising for me. So, um, I would start to lie, not necessarily for attention, but just because it was something that would keep me safe. It could have
Mhm.
been connected to my home life. My parents were going through a divorce around that time, so
Mhm.
my stability wasn't what it needed to be, especially as a young, an adolescent kid.
Mhm.
Um, so if those things aren't stable, if my relationships and friendships and home life aren't safe necessarily, then how am I supposed to reflect that in my work? And also, my brain was different. So we move on to times tables, and I'm learning to count as we're learning multiplication, as we're learning how to read a clock, which is very useful. I use it every day, but I just couldn't get it. There was no rhyme or reason or pattern. It felt like someone mixed five different puzzles together and said, figure it out without letting me know what every puzzle looked like.
Mhm.
Um, and I didn't know where to start. So I had a teacher assistant sit next to me, and we came upon one question that will forever be in my head. And it was one times one times one times one times one. So I counted them up, and I was like, okay, four, because I'm counting, right? That's what I'm
Mhm.
doing. It just looks like the plus sign is now twisted and it looks like an X. Why is there X's in my math? I mean, later I learned why, but like I didn't
Yeah, yeah.
understand. I couldn't get a grip on what was going on. So I just remember crying because
Mhm.
it was new and I felt unsafe and I didn't feel like people had empathy around me. I'm sure that the teaching assistant did everything they could, but it just wasn't fitting in my head. And I don't think at that point any amount of like aid to get me to understand would have helped me.
Mhm.
Because I had been so far dug into a hole. Eventually, I did get it, and during the summer, I would have to do my times tables to get the pattern in my head. I started doing piano because my grandfather would play his massive piano, and it was just such a fond memory for me, and that really helped with my fine motor skills.
Mhm.
Um, I would draw too, but as we go on in life, I realized people were not as kind as I thought they were, and some of my friendships got broken,
Mhm.
and they would lie to me, and they would lie about me. At the time, I had a turtle. I loved I loved turtles. I loved
Oh,
aquatic animals. It was a little
yeah.
pink-eared slider, and the school said, so these two people are arguing. Why don't we make them have a play date? And it was a good play date. I remember it as like we shared candy canes. We because it was around Christmas. Um, and I thought I made a friend with someone who didn't view me in the best way. She saw my turtle. I'm gonna make this very clear. Later, I'm just spilling tea now. Later, I hear that she's been lying about me, that I had asthma, that I don't have asthma, that I don't have a turtle. Um, oh gosh, there was so many that I lie. Oh yeah, every word that comes out of my mouth was a lie. That one got to me
Oh.
because going back to what I said, I started to lie. And I did
Mhm.
lie occasionally, many kids do, it's a protective thing.
It
I'm
is.
not saying it's okay, but it does happen. And how in your childhood, how that is handled will reflect, your habits for a very long time.
Mhm.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was well handled for me. I don't know how it would have been. I'm not a parent or, someone who is saying that, but I feel like things could have gone a lot differently. So when I found that out, I told a peer, as you should when you find things that make you uncomfortable out, or if someone does something to you that makes you uncomfortable.
Mhm.
I also got cornered by these people, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, so I told someone safe, and their decision was to put me in a room with um, the person who was lying about me and another person who is her friend.
Mhm.
And I was put in a room with someone who they thought was my friend.
Mhm.
So, what ended up happening is what she told me everything everyone had been saying behind my back. And I realized I am not safe anywhere. I don't have friends. I don't have a community. And that was really hard to hear. And then she placed blame on her friend, not in the room. She just completely diverted the responsibility to someone else. Um, and I feel like I couldn't prove anything. I felt like all of my power was gone. And I was miserable. My mom actually told me she could see my light going out because reflecting back, I realized that I was very depressed as a kid, as a young kid. No, like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds even should feel depressed or sad or suicidal even, anxious. It was just such big adult feelings for such a small person. So my parents made the executive decision, against my will, because I didn't wanna move. I wanted to stay where I was in, the uncomfortable safety that I only knew, of being bullied, of having teachers hate me because I couldn't get a grip on things. That this did happen. It was all I knew. All I knew was that I was not smart. I was told I wasn't smart, that I was bullyable. I've been told I'm bullyable, that I lie, that I'm stupid, that I was less than, that I'm a loser, that I am lonely, that I have no friends. That's all I knew. That's because that was all I had been told for day after day, a month after month, year after year. And I believe those things because I'm being told them, whether it's by peers, by friends, people who I thought were my friend. Um, it's all that I knew. So when I got moved, I remember my first day like the back of my hand. I was wearing my cat shoes. I love cats. Um, and I immediately felt different. Obviously, it was different, but I felt more at home. There's like, I clearly remember there's pianos in the hallways, there's kids running around. People looked happy there, which I didn't see in my school because it was quite, despite being an art oriented school, things felt a lot more reformed. But I felt at home, and a couple weeks later, I was apparently talking to someone recently about experiencing the same thing. He moved to a different school, but we were in the same class. He saw me come to school. He told me that I was in the quote unquote more advanced math class, which did not make sense to me at all because I was told I wasn't smart, because I was told I was dumb, that I couldn't do it. And that felt so incredibly empowering. And since then, I went through my bumps, but I came out of it feeling worth it. I felt worth it to the world at that point. And I'm getting a little emotional, but thinking back to that, I don't think any kid should ever feel that way. And if I had even you, talking to you when I was younger, or having a support system, a counselor, something, someone to tell me a different message, things probably would have ended in a much happier way. But I didn't, and I am who I am, and I will take those experiences to the future. And my goal is to advocate for those who can't, like me, for those who didn't feel like that they had a choice, for being told that I'm different, and I am. And it took a long time to come to terms with that as a kid, but I am different, and that's okay. Sorry, I went on a rant.
I am so happy, and I'm so grateful to you for sharing this really honest. And I'm so happy it's become very emotional for me as well. I have goosebumps all the time. I really sit in, and I have like so much even tears, but this deep already now a little bit happy tears, because without you being resilient and transforming all this pain to creative fuel, everything what you are doing for others. So of course we could not be sitting together, but I also can relate so much to my childhood. it's not the show for me now, but also I could share so
Of
much the
course.
same painful experience. And now I know the same because I have adopted two children from Ukraine with special needs, and especially one of them has particular challenges for life. And we've been through these circles of not belonging many times, and it's still the communities. We change schools so many times because yes, still in society we're kind of uh, okay and built for kind of, they call it ideal or normal people, but what is normal now?
Yeah.
It sounds, or it's Norwegian, right? So to be different, it's so challenging. You should be fighting every single day just to have a place to all the time to defeat that. Yes, I'm worthy. I'm not enough. And I was so deeply touched by your TED talk also today. I could hear many times, and I also noticed, like I mentioned in my title of the podcast, you've been mentioning there that you felt like a circle in the square system,
Oh
and it was
yes.
so much painful experience when I could just imagine that you said that because it was so difficult, challenging for you to read, and they didn't understand. I mean, grown up and teachers, that why, what is the reason that you had to spend a little bit more time or much more time to put so much efforts in reading in the classroom. But then instead, it was like you said, one-way ticket to the hallway with a pair of construction headphones. That's why I also mentioned, like, you
Oh yeah.
not
Yes.
construction worker, right, sitting alone there, just to be kind of, what kind of example the teacher set for
Yeah.
the pupils, the kids who were surrounded you. Then of course, if they give the excuse to exclude you, to bully you, then kids, of course, it's so contagious, they will be doing the same, and it's so painful. And
Would you like me to retell that story?
oh, you please do, because I
Yeah.
think
I
it's a beautiful story. That's why I was asking you. And I'm
Of
beautiful now
course.
because we can see it, and I'm so impressed by you. And I would like to encourage maybe somebody somewhere there in the world can hear your story, my story. It's never young to start. It's never
No,
young.
God,
It's
no.
never late to start to change. It's micro changes, because maybe they can hear your story and somebody, oi, wake up and no, I don't need to accept all that. I need to change. I need to change it now. And I have all this power. Look at this girl. So yes, please do. Mm,
Well, I can say as a kid, being called like a loser and like basically I was an alien or an outcast. I believe those things, and when you believe something, you can become it. And that can go in both ways. If you believe
mm,
that you are an artist, you are an artist. But I believed I was bad and I was a bad kid. So I had become a bad kid.
mhm,
Um, oh gosh, yeah. My dad, or my mom, I can't quite remember, would tell me that I am a circle in a square system. Um, I'm built differently, built different, but I'm I'm different, and they're trying to shove me into a category where I'm not. Um, it No matter how much pushing you do, it's not gonna work. So I needed to be in a different system. And yeah, my reading was not good. Sorry, I'm just adjusting. But
mhm,
I couldn't read. And I think I really realized I couldn't read when I was talking to one of my best friends at home,
mhm,
before they moved away. I just realized one snowy day at night, actually, one snowy night,
mhm,
um, I had never read a book, and I started crying, and he hugged me because he was incredibly smart. He was also neurodivergent, and he made me feel a bit more at home, even though I couldn't do a basic human thing. I couldn't read. And I was like in fifth grade. So, no matter how hard I tried, I didn't feel supported. Even talking about school stories, for science class, we would read a textbook. Obviously, it's appropriate to the class. So, um, I can't remember. I think it was photosynthesis. But we read each paragraph, went around the room. That was my least favorite time of day. I hated that
mm,
because a teacher who is supposed to support me and not make me feel bad or negative, the moment it got to me, I think I read 1 or 2 words, and it took a while because the was hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said the "huh" or the "he" or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you get the idea, but I couldn't read it. So she just skipped me. She was like, "That's enough. Just skip me." That's enough? Girl, I haven't even read yet. I don't know what you're talking about. Um,
God.
but I couldn't advocate for myself. All I knew was I have less time to read. I have less time. People have less patience for me. So I'm not worth it. Another message. Um, so people caught on to that. They'd visibly get annoyed when I read out loud
Mm-hmm.
because it would take a while, because I wasn't given the same abilities that everyone else was. Um, so instead, I'd read out in the hallway with my construction headphones on because I was so distracted. I was an unmedicated ADHD child.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how hard the school system pushed for me to be medicated, because that was their solution. It's a band-aid over a bullet hole. Um, they thought it would work, and my parents said no, and I'm very glad they said no at the time, because you need that good foundation in order to put a band-aid on top of it. So instead, I'd read in the hallway. I was told, or the teacher told the class, not to talk to me, that they're not allowed to talk to me. They would get in trouble. Um,
Oh my
so
God.
people stopped talking to me. Um, it was very lonely. It was a very lonely time. And when I left, um, two things actually happened for me to realize how much I wasn't worth it and how much I was glad to be going. One of my friends, or past friends, he no longer liked me as a person anymore, and he changed as kids do. He was leaving the school. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we were a quite tight-knit community, and I was the villain, um, along with other people. Other people got pushed out, um, but he was quite celebrated. They put him in the middle of the room, they gave him gifts before he left, um, and that was great, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm leaving in 2 months. I'm gonna get, like, a little party about me." And I remember my parents told me not to tell anyone, but the teacher knew. So I thought they were surprising me with something. And then that day, the very last day before spring break, um, I was allowed to tell people that I was leaving. And the day went on like normal. Nothing changed.
No way. Oh
Yeah,
my God. It's
I
so awful.
had
Oh,
yeah,
my heart
it was
is
okay
so breaking.
because
What a
one
sis.
person did plan something. And she was my pretty much one of my last friends, uh, like closer knit friends there, because she was also being bullied by the same people. Um, She gave me a little box, I still have it. It's a little ceramic box with a bunch of candy in it,
Mm.
um, and that made me feel I know she like, I don't know where it came from, but I was really happy because I knew at least I made some impact on this
Mm.
community. I
Mm.
know people like Panic wrote cards because they started to feel bad, I was told this by my friend, um, but I realized that it wasn't their caring, it was the guilt. It was the fact they felt guilty that, um I I don't even know. Things are very different as you grow up, but it kind of helped. It was a good move from that point on, um, because I was accepted into a family and a community who truly did care for me, and who did welcome me. And I try to stay connected to those people, in my elementary school if I can. Um, but yeah, that really changed a lot for me.
What a touching story. And look at you now, and you're just 19 years old. Oh my God. And everything you have already done. It's amazing. It's tremendous job, and it's just the beginning. Wow, I'm so touched, and I'm so happy that you have changed it. Very painful path, and that I'm so sure that by being you and how you could transform this pain and turn on your adversity to really make change for other people. It's maybe without all these painful experiences, you couldn't have done what you're doing now. Let's put this way, right? Because the
Oh
past
yeah,
we
of course.
can't change, unfortunately, but we can take it, have attachment, no detachment, reflect through, and do something really what you are doing. I'm so um, impressed and influenced what you're accomplishing now. So, and for me, I would like to ask you about. We've been talking about your and can you imagine? I'm
Oh
still.
yeah.
I'm speaking with one person, 19 years old, and I'm speaking about TED Talk. TED Talk is like, wow, it's like, I don't know, Oscar or something. And because this is also my goal and dream, I already wrote the two scenario, and I would like to be finished with my PhD this summer, and then I will put my
Oh
FT
wow.
talk, and I know already subject. I mean, title, it will be from OCD to PhD. It will be, yes, also I
That
hope
sounds good.
impactful. So, but for me, it's a great honor to talk about TED Talk, actually, which have been already executed by 19 years old. Oh wow, it's you're a hero. You're my hero. So about, yes,
Oh,
exactly,
you're so
about,
sweet.
I want to ask about the uh, this neurodiversity concept, because actually I've been on this I've lived in this life and been on the spectrum so many years, but unfortunately I also was surrounded by people who have been just operating with this medical terminology, which is quite discriminative, right? It's
Oh
disabled,
yeah.
disorder, all this painful experience that you don't want even to pronounce, all these labels. And it was quite of game changing for me when I found or discovered even uh, this word, this concept, neurodiversity. I was like, wow, this was really it. And it was this autumn again, I already shared with you, and I had this severe OCD episode, and I was put in the mental hospital, and then I could uh, help, like self-advocacy, self-therapy. And then I suddenly found this word and started reading, and it was my idea about launching the podcast. But can you share with me about yourself? What was your um, actually path? No, you've been told that you were different, and you kind of understood that you were different, right? But it was mostly painted in very destructive way, in very negative, right? That not good enough, not that. But when have you actually discovered more professionally, probably, that it's neurodiversity, neurodivergence, diagnosis, ADHD, or how this path was transformative for you? Because you're so young, and so many people, when I'm speaking now about my podcast and the concept of neurodiversity, they have never heard about it. And then I'm speaking about basically scholars from different universities. But you sitting here for me delivering TED Talk about neurodiversity. It's like, hi, you are alien for me, but I mean, like, very positive, super
Yeah.
alien, superpower, like, you see. So can you explain how could you hear about it? How was this way that it started transforming? Oh no, I'm different, but not in a bad way. I'm unique, different.
Oh, well, apart from feeling different socially, I got tested when I was a kid. I think maybe I was 5 or 6, and um, professional testing is very different from the medical diagnosis.
Mhm,
If you or your child or your partner, even if you feel that there's something different, you can get professionally tested. I would definitely go that way. Um,
mhm,
but there was like a series of it seemingly random things, like um, picking a circle out of a square, dragging your finger to drag a path out, and these things are to diagnose recognition, ADHD, OCD. Um, I'm not quite sure about BPD, but autism, dysgraphia, dyslexia, just an umbrella of things. And um,
mhm,
I didn't become aware of this until much later because my parents didn't want me to feel like I was labeled as something. Yet I found out I have ADHD and dyslexia and anxiety. I was a very anxious kid, um, depression even, and then also I gained social anxiety, and that was a huge, massive part. I was scared to be with people in public. I was scared to not be without my parents. Um, and that experience of school changed my life for that. But when I was separated from, quote, unquote, "the normal kids," my
Mhm.
favorite thing to do was PE, but I wasn't allowed to do that anymore. I would have to go to, um, a different class to be taught how to read, to have extra time for me. They did try, but it wasn't what I needed because I just felt separated from the class.
Mm.
Um, and then I would have tutoring. I did as much tutoring as I could. They tried to support me in the system, in the place I was, but no
Mhm.
matter what, it wouldn't work, and I needed to be moved out. But it felt like a disability. Like I wouldn't call it that at all. It's not a learning disability to me, though it is medically. It's a learning difference for sure.
Mhm.
Because disability has such a negative connotation to it. Most mental health issues or differences or neurodiversities have such stigma on them, like ADHD. Oh, you can't focus, but that's not necessarily true.
Mhm.
We also have hypersensitivity, and we can hyper focus, which is like a superpower to me. Um, you can have like a bunch of anxieties with it. It comes with a bunch of other stuff. It's not just ADHD, but it's masked as not being able to focus. And while that is true in some ways or another, it isn't necessarily the full truth. Same with dyslexia, same with OCD, even. People think it's just like organizing pencils, making things color coded, but that's not it at all. It's intrusive thoughts, it's overwhelming, it's um, your life can be overpowered by these negative thoughts and um, it's not what it's socially stigmatized as, especially with social media.
Mhm.
um, but I was told those things. I was told like, oh, you can't focus, you're disabled, you're different. So I took that in a negative sense, and then when I found out what neurodiversity was, it it felt better. It sounds different. Neuro as in your brain, diversity as in different, so my brain works differently. Um, and that's okay, because why would I wanna be like everybody else when I can paint and do art and write now? Um, it changed, and I wanna know everything, and it's very hard when um, you're being explained by a doctor that, "Oh, you have, anxiety." Like, "Oh, that's a bad thing, obviously," but you don't know what that fully means, so you do your own research and, you find out how it affects your life and, how you can change that. But I believe I didn't really, apart from the skills that I had been given, I didn't really take a medical standpoint from it up until, like, upper high school. I started taking medication for my ADHD, um, only because I knew that it was time and it was a tool to be used. It wasn't something that would fix me, but it's a tool
Mhm.
to be used. Um, and that changed my grades, like, completely. I'm not saying it fixed me. I'm saying
Mhm.
the foundation of the skills that I had been given to focus and to be empowered to read with the aid of medication on top, um, it really changed how I did my work. I could properly focus. I wouldn't kind of drift off, or I wouldn't feel as left out when I wouldn't, converse with people when I'm supposed to be doing work. And it also made me feel like not normal, but it made me feel empowered. Like I could actually do anything if I truly wanted to. And that's kind of how we segued here now. I took those tools and now I'm an adult in this world.
Yes, very shyly wrapped,
Yeah.
but now I mean, oh my God! And from that period, let's now really uh, get all the evidence and put them on the table and spread the message to people who can hear us, and especially teens, that everything what you have achieved and everything that on the top of what has been told to you, and you said you've been of course believing in that after so many years, and then let's come to the very creative and positive parts, right? Because since then, when you not be fixed, that's the profound thing in the whole subject, because it's different wires in our brain. We unique, we special. Every single person is unique and special in different ways, and it has to be that and celebrated exactly for this uniqueness. And then you actually had all this like basement, that's foundation, your ground pillars, but you just needed yes, how you said, the correct tool to nourish them, to
Yeah.
nourish a little bit, because it's so important also to underline for so many people. Yes, we are different, we have challenges, but at the same time we have so many special strengths,
Oh,
like you said.
yes.
If we love something, oh my god, you will never ever
Oh,
find the same person typical who can put everything aside and just dive basically in that specific task or new hobby, or like I have this name on Snap, Evi student. It's in Norwegian. It's like eternal student all my
oh
life,
yeah,
because
of course.
I have two master degrees. It's not like I'm prison, and now I'm writing PhD because I love it. I can sit with all these nerdy glasses, like timeless. I even don't know how much. And my kids, like sometimes they come in the morning, they already go to school, like, oh, already, oh, it was night, because I love being a nerd. And people like, what, this is Valeria, you're 100 years old and you like school? Who can
What?
sit in school in your age? I said, but I love it, this my stuff. And like making a pearls, all that stuff. But if we really, like you said, it's true, we have heightened, first of all, heightened focus. If you love something, OCD has also the same, right? Creativity, like you also have mentioned in your TED talk, thinking out the box. Come on,
Yeah.
all the industrial revolution, everything what is propelling us now in our society, made by whom? Typical people who really have office schedule from 9 to 5, break and
Yeah.
go home. No, ever, right? And all these inventions, and especially now, everything evolving so rapidly, and AI, virtual, and we need more and more also advanced stuff in medical domain, because all of these viruses, and who is can really make the vaccine, and all these people can sit and be nerding 24 hours 7. Typical people, no, I don't believe so.
Yeah.
So, and also about empathy, I mean, like, really, we are not flatliners. Yes, sometimes I really envy people who can, no matter what, they like, register their feelings like this, and they can react
Yeah.
like this, like you and me. If something happen, we are like
Oh
this.
my gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh, basically. And it can have like this, like nuclear explosion, and like, and after so many years now, like you and me, really, we need to have toolbox, right? Like meditation, breathing, isolation, like a lot of stuff. But when we feel something where we're involved, and especially helping people, we also like, then our profound level of cognitive empathy,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
like you also mentioned, like emotional intelligence. And what about our emotional resilience? Because we still operate in people in society which are basically made for neurotypical people, and we still need to adjust every single day, because society doesn't want to feed that, society doesn't want to adjust that much. So yes, I know what you mean, but let's now about your flourishing part. Tell me, oh my god, I was basically, I felt problem when I start just making a list what you have accomplished, and already everything you have won. Like you wrote the book, right? You make a lot of films. You've been playing in the films. Now the title of my podcast was this beautiful saga about Arabella, right? It's can you please tell me about what was, because we have absolutely not even 5 hours to mention it, but what was the major, like, uh, wow feeling with bubbles and summer butterflies in your stomach when you really could transfer everything you have been taught in so many years and to put in something creative and thrive, right? And what about now projects where we can see, where we can watch, hear, do, spread as much as possible, that we can give hope to those kids who are watching us now, that anyway all that we can put together with a lot of determination. Job, I know it's not easy for you. Oh my god, I can't imagine. I know myself, but but look at the result. Amazing. You have built beautiful planet of Isabella, really, just for so few years. You have already your own land. It's Isabella land. Tell about that part.
Oh, well, yeah, my book is called Then and There, Here and Where.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I came up with it because I uh, thought of the most confusing and memorable thing I could think of. Um, in addition to that, I did have a strength, and though it wasn't reading, I could write and I could form sentences. So I got my dad to scribe for me. So every day before bed, I'd tell him like what the next chapter will be, what will happen then, because he would read books to me, and so would my mom before bed. And I thought that so many people have books, it seems almost impossible for me to write my own. So, we took a chance and my dad supported me in every way he could. Um, and even then, I knew that it could reach out to people who, because I was basically just writing the things that I needed to hear when I was younger. Um, and I didn't realize how many people could relate to that. In fact, yeah, but I really hyper focused on this one project for a long time, and I realized that I can do a lot more than I was told that I could. So I got into film, and I got into writing, and I did acting. Uh, I tried doing stunt. I did really enjoy that, so I could go back. But there's so much that we can do that we are told that we can't, that we are limited, just because we're different. It's just incredible to me how many creative and amazing people, like you said, in history, are not recognized, are only recognized for what they've done, but in addition to that, are not recognized for how they were different. Like Einstein had autism, and so many creative people who thought differently, who piece things together in that big, massive puzzle that no one else can figure out, because we have the ability and the creativity to do that. Um, so many people do, and whether it's to get your emotions out or to spread the word or to spread a message even, um, we have the ability to do that. And especially in the arts and even the sciences. I know I've mentioned this in prior podcasts, but NASA hires people with ADHD because they think differently.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, it's just so incredible because when you're younger, you're told that you can't. If you're in that situation, you're told that you can't do it because you're different. I feel like we should be pushing everyone up, not just the people who fit in that box, that square,
Mm.
everyone, and to be given what they can and what they need even. But yeah, I in my future projects, right now I'm in school for classical animation, so like on paper or 2D animation, and it's a year-long program, so um, I'm taking it day by day, and there's a lot of work to do. And that is where I have found a lot of neurodivergent people, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who are creative and who want to get their message out there and who want to work part of a really funky team. Um, it's just, it's super fun. It's very tiring. It's a lot, but like I found people who love what I love, and when you find that community, you should definitely stick with it. It's your tribe. So upcoming things would be me doing animation, and um, uh, there is some big projects coming up for me, I will say, and I can get back to you on that when we have. I want to like really tell it when I know all of the facts about what's going on, but yes, definitely look out for that.
Oh my God, I know you, but you're still so shy because I know you already work and existed and directed film, right? Which also was connected on your um, experience, and it was the Red Ball, right? Did I say my Red
Oh, my
Ball, right?
red ball, yeah.
Yes, and you co-wrote, co-direct, and starred in this, and it handles on the things, yes, also about we've been talking about bullying based on your own life experience, and you've been playing this blind girl from Moldova in one film, and I saw the episode was beautiful, and your portfolio is really so diverse and so impressive. Your art, you also art on the pocket, right? And
Oh
this
yeah, that was so long ago. Oh my goodness.
yes, and this, and also I read something about sailing. You have you done this? Because
Oh, yes. Yeah, I am an OS, so I'm an ordinary seaman through a German vessel called the Alexander von Humboldt II. I was in a program where
mm,
we did school, so that was my first year of university. And we sailed, and we went to 21 places in 9 months, and this was last year. Like this is quite recent. But I really enjoyed sailing, and a lot of those amazing people that I met on that ship are really taking sailing to another level. Like, there's an incredible person named Rachel who is doing such strong and incredible work sailing. I know she's been in competitions. Like, I'm wowed by her. Like, it's incredible.
mm, amazing. It's yeah. It's then we are speaking about diversifying your life and role like on this level, like really great, right? And if you're talking about like neurodivergence. People, young kids especially, creators, and could you share more, uh, like we have been mentioned like tools you really need to know what about your particular skills, right, and to put efforts in strengthening them, but on the daily basis you have accomplished so much. And I know for me, then I know it's like it's about meditation, it's about self time, some journaling, some I mean small micro changes, the strategy of small step, which I'm trying to implement every single day still. What maybe you could share some your um, uh, tools, what your
Self-care.
you are doing on a daily basis. Maybe some people like you, they can just try something. Maybe you can give some advices how actually you, if you feel, oh no, it's too much, I'm overwhelmed, I'm on the age now, I should go and do 5 or 10 or 15 minutes that.
Yeah.
uh, what is your special approach strategy?
Well, often especially now, I do realize that I need a break, much as everyone, especially people who are neurodivergent, because we burn out quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Even being a woman, it's very different. Being a girl, we're seen as differently, and our brain does definitely work different from conventional ADHD. We're more creative, so I would always take a creative approach. I would paint or draw or do clay art or bead. I got into beading, making rings, rainbow balloon, because that was when I was a kid. Play with my toys, but as I grew up and I got older, these habits started to change and they matured. So still to this day, I'll color in coloring books, or I realize I need a break. Maybe I need to listen to music. Maybe I need to listen to a podcast. Maybe I should just take a second to take a few breaths, because
Mm-hmm.
even then, that can lower your heart rate. If you have a higher heart rate, it can it can just relax your body and think about your shoulders, physically relax your shoulders, feel the difference, feel your body, do, yes, a meditation, do a mind exercise even. And I think probably one that I go to a little too much is like I'll play a game on my phone or I'll look on social media or even I'll watch some Netflix. Um, just something to get my mind off of the feelings that I feel. And a good strategy is when I'm feeling very big feelings, before I go and do that thing, to get my mind off of it, I'll write it down. I'll write, I'm feeling this way because this happened, or I'm just feeling this way even, because we feel things for God knows why. I can feel upset just because it was stuffed deeper down. And an analogy that I've always used is that my glass is too full, that it's been filled up with too much water and it needs to evaporate out or to be poured out even. So I'll write down my feelings, I'll write down my message, I'll say why I'm upset, I'll take my break no matter how long I need. Maybe I
Mhm.
need a nap because I'm tired. But I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that thought. It isn't drifting in the back of my head. It won't come up because it's in front of me. And then I'll work through those feelings internally first so I can talk to myself. Because you always have yourself. Something that is
Mm.
a message that's coming to me is I'll always have my younger self in me. I talk to her sometimes. I tell her she's not dumb. She's not lonely. She has herself. Even though that's a sad thing to say, but she has herself. She has someone to rely on. So I talk to my younger self, or I read that message out loud. What I'm feeling upset because this happened. Um, and because it feels so personal for yourself in your own personal experience, you feel like maybe everyone saw you spill your coffee, or maybe your presentation got messed up. But it's a blip in people's minds now. People aren't really thinking about it as much as you feel like they are. Um, and just let it roll off your back after that. You can think about it in other people's perspectives if you can. But even like if it's silly, you can laugh at yourself. Um, like, gosh, like I've spilled things and I laughed at myself, even though I felt awkward and a bit embarrassed even. I just laughed at myself, and even then I feel better. So rereading my messages, if I need another break, if I'm still feeling those heavy feelings, like you can go take your break again. But the very important thing is you need to try. You need to try whatever makes you feel better. You need to see, like, does drawing make me feel better? Does going on a drive, if you can drive, does taking a walk, that is a very healthy one, is taking a walk, does listening to music help me feel better? Um, Finding a counselor is around the same way. You need to see who fits you. And finding what works for you, because like you mentioned, and like I've mentioned, we're all so different. Not everything will work for the same person. Um, Sometimes I cannot do meditation. It just bothers me. Sometimes I can't draw because it's not turning out the way I want. Um, but things aren't perfect, and us as humans, we're definitely not, and that's how we evolve. So yeah, like you were saying, going back to your question, sometimes I go on a rant. Finding out what works for you. If you're frustrated, if you need a break, um, your tools are what you need. And the hard thing about that is if you haven't been introduced to tools, it's very hard to find them. So yeah, if you don't have access to that, to the audience, you can look up tools. You can find like photos or other messages, or yeah, like I said, you can listen to a podcast about self-help. But you need to want to start first.
Oh, wow. You see, now I'm so touched. What a beautiful, really important, really wise list of advices. That what amazed me still, that am I sit and listen to 19 years old girl, still like, oh my god, how many people actually they are the 40s, 50s, 60s, and they have not come to this even 20% of all these really wise advices you have been given. It's really gold corns now, because I reflect it. It's so important. Everything what you are reflecting now, so important, because like you said, at the end of the day, the person who anyway somehow we will end up, it's us, it's ourselves. Who you are talking to mostly in your life, it's yourself, right? So it's better to be kinder with yourself. But so many times we are so harsh and all self-critical talk, or
Yes.
we really, oh no, I'm not deserving this break or that or that. Yes, of course, please be kind. Just try to listen to your inner voice and
Mm-hmm.
still to trust the process, because yourself in your side know actually we have already all our answers. Just sometimes we need to break, pause, and listen. That's it.
Oh,
Take a break
yes.
ourselves. So that's it. It's really amazing everything what you have been sharing now, and I'm so happy that you're the advocate and messenger for all these profound, small, but yet the very crucial changes every day, because we are not living by ourselves. We always impact the community who is surrounded. So that's, for me, it's also given much hope. People now who are around you, you are also impacting them so much. So it means that also they can have better life, because you're not just talking and giving so much hope, but you are role model by your behavior. So it's amazing, of course, and I'm looking forward to watch all your professional
Thank you.
victories, and I'm with you, and I hope one day we can meet in real life and
Oh, yeah,
probably
of course.
something together. It will be, I'm sure, very special, magnificent moment, and I'm sure it will be also very important and can give a positive message. Before we wrapping up, I have a small tradition we always play, and for you and me, I'm always childish because I didn't have that much. That's why, like, to laugh at yourself, play with those. I'm still playing. I have so many koalas. I don't care. They can say whatever they want. I love pink color. I'm in Norway. No, everybody look at me like this.
Yeah.
And I love koalas. I mean, I have koala everywhere. I just look at them, and if it's pink koala, it makes me happy. Do I
Yeah,
hurt
like what you
somebody?
like.
That? No. It helps me. Everything I'm checking this fact draining my energy or nurturing. So
Mhm.
why not? Do I hurt by doing that to any people? No. Can I even maybe show like positive impact? Yes. So why not? We should find, like you said,
Yeah.
tools what really help and feed us. So that's why we are playing now in a small fairy tale, and I've been in Morocco, and everything what is pink attracts my attention immediately. And I found this pink. It's very gold. I also like bling bling, but it's actually pink lamp
Yeah.
from that fairy tale, right?
Yeah.
Which
Aladdin?
one? Yeah, and this is already 19 wishes are packed there, and it's a small one, but it's quite tough one. This cute is working hard, making fulfillment on 19 wishes, which has already impact. And now it's turn for your wish, because 3 wishes, I don't have place for 3 wishes, but I have for one. And now we need to find out what would be a wish from our beautiful Esabella. Yes,
Oh,
my darling. Can be
well,
small, can be big, whatever. Can be pizza for the evening, can be piece for the wall. Doesn't matter.
well,
Uh, We
I'm
take
not gonna
every.
wish for more wishes. I won't say that.
I know it's tricky one. Many ask me the same
There's so
question.
much.
This means your brain works perfectly, my darling.
But I would say, I'm okay where I'm at. I don't necessarily wish for anything, um, but I wish that I would have heard more often, or I would have told myself that I was enough, that I am enough, and even the viewer that you are enough. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You are who you are, and like you said, you like what you like, even if it's koalas in pink, even if it's my black cat named Dave. You are who you are and you like what you like, but I wish for my younger self and, all those younger people out there to hear that they are enough, to hear that things will be okay, that they're safe and they are loved and, um, being different is not a bad thing.
Oh, it's beautiful thing. Yes, thank you so much, Bella. I put this one. It's okay. We start with that. Now we do like this, shake that all these wishes, they are not prioritized. It's equality. Okay. And now I, of course, would like to say how much I am grateful to you, your time in this Saturday evening. It was beautiful story. It was touching story, strong, deep, emotional, very hope spreading. So I'm so grateful to you for being with us, sharing. I really hope that our audience can reflect more about what you have been saying and showing us. And if we just pause, yes, once per day and say, how can I do today? What kind of, not big change, small, just to make something for me, feeling me better. If you and me are feeling better with ourselves, definitely we have impact on people around us, right? And then I believe actually we didn't have a war which devastating, the most devastating what can happen. It's in my country, right? So I hope really that soon we sit in here also, in every single podcast I will be smiling with all my parts because the war is over in my city. We will be praying for that as well. And I would like to finish our episode actually also quoting you. And I wrote down for you again, like, you're my beautiful 19 years old genius from your TED talk. Oh my God. So yes. So today I want to close our show using your powerful message, my dear. As you said through your message, I was almost crying. Ask yourself how I can be a part of creating change. How can I create an environment where ADHD or other neurodivergencies are not seen as a struggle, but seen as just as different way of thinking? Remember, when it's impactful, it's memorable. I love this part. I need to really put my efforts again. Remember, when it's impactful, it's memorable. And when it's memorable, then people learn and become aware to make the change. Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Amazing. Adorable. So grateful I have met you in my life. And I know my wish for today to meet you in real life and really create impactful magic together. And I know we will, because if we want, then we will definitely put our effort and prioritize, and then we'll create it. Thank you, our audience. And then, Isabella, if you have any last thoughts to everybody who can hear us, or just you can say bye bye. It's up to you. I think
Oh.
you already gave some brilliant gems. I don't know what actually audience would wish more, or you can just say bye bye.
Well, I catch myself a lot saying sorry for talking so much, but especially as a woman with neurodivergencies, it's okay to talk.
Yeah.
So I want you to remember, as the audience, no matter who you are, even if you're atypical, that you're okay to talk. You're okay to use your voice, and to have a good day or good weekend or good evening.
Thank you. And stay tuned with us until next time.